We're talking with the Consuegras, Claudio and Pamela. They're the Family Ministries Directors for the North American Division. We're so glad that we can talk about family. Yes. What are ways, or what should couples do what should couples do instead?
Well, the first thing, Ivan, is just take a break and calm down. You know, so many times there are things that we get angry about that we should be laughing about and that are actually humorous. And people calm down in different ways. Right. So when we talk to couples about this, we say, do what you need to do to take a break away from a hot situation. Before you say something that you'll be sorry for later, or do something that you'll be sorry for, take a break. Be it go for a walk, go for a bike ride. We tell women sometimes, go take a bubble bath. Go pray. Go pray that God will give you the wisdom to handle this in an appropriate manner.
When you are in the middle of a heated discussion, it's not time to try to solve a problem. Right. And in fact, the research shows that you need about at least 20 minutes to calm down. If you try to do it sooner than that, you're probably not going to accomplish it. But don't leave it open either. Don't just say, well, we'll talk about it later. Well, what does later mean? Later tonight, later next week, or like someone said, later 6 years from now? Well, that's not going to help. But to say, you know, give me a half hour, or let's do it in an hour, we'll calm down, then we can talk. The second thing that is suggested is that you validate your spouse. In other words, begin to make a list, whether it's written or a list in your mind, of all the things that you appreciate about your spouse. Don't compare them with somebody else. People have that tendency. You know, if my spouse was like someone else, if they cooked like the other person, if they did like... No, look at your spouse and think about all the good things they do and that you appreciate for them. But don't just write them down. Tell them. Because by doing that, you're validating them. You're giving them the value that belongs to them.
You know, it's so easy to focus on the negative. Yes. And I think God calls us, look at the gifts that He's given our spouse. Think of the positive. Because when we're having those bad days, it's important for us to remember the bad does not outweigh the good. Right. Yes. And we can be reminded of all the wonderful qualities that attracted us to our spouse in the first place.
The third thing that you can do is to speak non-defensively. You know, we talked about one of the horsemen being defensiveness, but maybe try to understand what your spouse is telling you or why, you know, kind of wear their shoes. Because by doing that, then maybe you understand that they're not really trying to be mean to you, or they don't mean to attack you or criticize you or whatever. Maybe they're experiencing deep pain. So try to understand what they're going through rather than immediately defending yourself.
And understanding does not mean I agree all the time. I may not agree with my spouse all the time, but if I'm able to just really understand where they're coming from and to respect the opinion that they have, even if it's different from my own.
Yes.
Which is a great reason for having good communication skills. By understanding, by listening attentively, then you can really focus on what your spouse is trying to tell you, not just the words that were spoken. And the one thing the last thing I guess you would say is to try and try again. Because marriage, like riding a bicycle, you don't learn it at the first try, not many of us anyways. You just have to keep trying and trying until you get it right. Don't give up the first time or the second time. Keep trying until you get it just right.
You know, everything in our life that we do takes time. We're willing to take 4 years to go to college, but often we aren't willing to even take the time to go to a marriage retreat or a counselor if we need help. So this whole idea of trying and trying again, work on your marriage, work on the marriage and the person that God has given you to be your mate.
Thank you for sharing these practical steps. I see them as an investment in our marriage.
Yes.
And as we have tried them, we will continue. Thank you so much. And I know that you've given much help to spouses listening and watching today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.